Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So today we've got double Archon Protea. Been messing with this build for the last week and a half, and I think I'm finally pretty happy with where it's at. We're going to go over the build today, all the arcanes. It's a pretty in-depth build with lots of stuff going on, so there will be a lot of stuff to talk about here. But make sure you're subbed to this channel before we get into it. We do daily Warframe video uploads, and we also do lots of live streams on the live stream channel, so go check out the live stream channel as well. We will be live later tonight with DevStream Bingo, making the DevStream Bingo card for the DevStream they haven't even announced for Friday. But yeah, we have nothing else going on, so we're predicting the future, and there will be a DevStream on Friday. All right, so double Archon Protea. What's the situation here? Well, we're using 2 Archon mods and a special Helminth to basically get lots of bonus effects. We're also going for a bunch of Archon shards, too, to have even more power. We've got a full suite of Archon shards, 2 of them being casting speed. This basically replaces natural talent on the build, lets you cast your grenades, your turrets, your everything really fast. And we've also got duration Archon shards to make your turrets last longer. So I'm going to show you what the idea of this build is. We'll show some Steel Path gameplay, and we'll go over every little thing and every little weapon choice and all that. So these are a bunch of level 190 Exto Goxted officers. So normally, you know, the heat turret does pretty good. You know, hits them a couple shots here and there. But if you group them up, the heat turret will build up the stacks really, really fast and make the damage extremely powerful. So that's the idea. We're using Coil Horizon Helminth ability from Gyre. The Gyre Warframe that came out with Zeramon, her Helminth ability groups enemies up. Now, there's a couple things about this that aren't as great for what we're doing here, but it actually ends up working out really well in the end once we run Archon Stretch as well. So, basically, the idea of the build is high duration, really high range, and we're using special arcanes from Zeramon to get even more ability stats. We're also using Equilibrium. Since Protea's dispensary ability will drop a bunch of energy orbs and health orbs, we have so much energy with this build. I originally had Archon Energize in this slot where Molt Efficiency is. You can definitely run Archon Energize on this build, but you're getting so much energy. As long as you're somewhat near your dispensary and you cast it regularly, you're not going to have any energy problems, unless you're really, really spamming, which I do that sometimes. So the idea of the build here is, so first ability is Grenade Fan. You basically toss out the grenades. If you tap it, it will be the slash nade. If you hold it, it will be the shield nade. Now I'm going to show you a trick you can do with Protea to make it where it's easier to get the shield nade, which I don't really use the slash nade very often, but you know, technically it is okay too. So here's the trick. A lot of people might know this already. This does work for other frames too. But you go to options, you go to invert tap hold ability. So in here, this will let you change what will be if it will be tap or hold for certain abilities. So right here on Protea, I've got it inverted. So instead of me, when I tap the button, it won't be the slash nade anymore. It'll be the shield nade, which makes it a lot easier to get your shield gating. You might have noticed we have no augur mods on our build. Augur mods and brief respite will mess with the special shield gating that these shield nades provide. So preferably you don't have anyone with brief respite on your team, but if someone does have brief respite on your team, it's not the end of the world. It's just not ideal. So good stuff there, good range. If we do use the slash nades, it has a pretty big radius of 11.75 slash radius, doing about 700 damage. And since we have Molt Augmented, every kill will give us more and more damage, so we'll be able to slash them up really good. The star of the show here is the Blaze Artillery Heat Turrets. These stack up damage really, really fast. And as you can see, we have a lot of range, almost as much range as you can get. We have 70-meter firing range. So if we place it on one of these turrets, it will shoot anyone we can see pretty much. The situations where it's not going to shoot at somebody, shoot at an enemy, are very, very. It's probably going to be behind cover, honestly. If it's in view of this turret, it's getting shot and it's building up heat stacks and all that. The star of the show is the heat turret, and as we said, it's a double Archon build. So Archon Vitality gives you 2 heat procs per hit, and I think Archon Vitality on Protea is the best use of Archon Vitality. It's actually better on Protea than it is on Ember, in my opinion, because Ember doesn't rapid fire heat procs. Ember does like 1 or 2 heat procs every couple of casts. This is literally like rapid fire heat procs. It's ideal for this. So very, very nice right there. And as far as the other Archon mod, Archon Stretch, this will give you energy regen over time once you cause electric damage. Since we're using Gyre's Helminth ability, it will cause electric damage, about 2,000 electric damage per second before we're Molt Augmented with our build. So yeah, that's like 10 energy regen over time. We are using maxed out blind rage. If this is too much power strength for you, or it's like not enough efficiency for you, I've got lower ranked blind rages that will actually adjust the energy costs. With this maxed out blind rage, our dispensary costs 116 energy, which is a lot, but keep in mind, after 1 orb drops, you're getting double that energy back. So You could just go with a lower rank Blind Rage. It will go down to like 105 energy cost, and then like your Coil Horizon will be 70, Blaze Turret be 70, blah, blah, blah. But I just got with the maxed out one because I like it. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's get some Steel Path gameplay here, and then we're going to talk about the weapon builds and the frame and the companion builds, because that's actually quite important for this too. So as far as the weapon I went with the Kuvazar. You might remember that the ammo for AoE weapons was massively nerfed with the Veilbreaker update. And that is still the case. This Protea Deluxe skin I'm using right now came with a Tonkor skin. The Tonkor doesn't really have ammo issues, unlike the Tsar. And I thought, okay, well, since I'm using Protea, her dispensary ability drops ammo, health, and energy. I should use something that has an ammo problem. So I started using the Kuvazar with Protea. And, you know, if you're anywhere near a dispensary, you're going to have near infinite ammo with the Tsar. So you can use it just like the good old, like, month and a half ago when the Tsar was, like, you know, raining good. And now it has, like, 10 shots, and it feels less good. But, you know, it still hits really, really hard. And I like this Tsar skin, which I'm using. I'll show the Tsar build here in a second. So as far as the Tsar, I am using a Toxin Tsar with a 60% Toxin roll. And, you know, that's the Tsar for you. The skin is the Clavitus Tsar skin. I believe this comes out in the Lunar Renewal event, which I don't even know. I think it's like in February or March. But as far as the build, we just gone with a pretty standard Hunter Munitions build here. But you will notice I have Amalgam Serration on here and not a Bane mod. If you wanted to go for big damage, min-max damage, you should put a Bane of the, like, Grenier or whatever on here. But I want to make my Protea moving around really fast. So we've got Amalgam Serration giving us increased sprint speed. We're using also the Praetos melee weapon to make us move faster from that source as well. So combining those two things, we're going really, really quick. So that's what I went for. If you don't have a Riven, you can just put on Vigilante armaments in that slot. It's going to be very, very similar. It's going to have better multi-shot technically too. But yeah, my Riven is just like crit damage, overall damage, and Toxin with minus Zoom. Not a very good Riven, but I rolled it 100 times, so I'm going to use it. The rest of this stuff, you know, you can change it for whatever is fitting your needs. You could go a Corrosive build if you wanted to. You could go a Radiation build, which I actually went the other day if you wanted to. The Radiation Toxin build I was using did not work out that great, but it was okay. So as far as the other mobility, we got the Praetos. This is a Incarna weapon from Zeramon. I was actually just messing with this build. This is experimental. It was basically a cold Shattering Impact build to slow down Demolus. And we've also got set bonus mods. Saxon Thorax. Lift enemies explode on death, dealing 10% enemy max HP as impact in a 10-meter radius. This will work on her heat turrets when you get a kill, but keep in mind it will have a cooldown of 6 seconds. So, and they're not going to be lifted, so it's not really ideal, but it's better than nothing. Also, Jugulus Bars, when we do a slam attack, it will stun enemies in the area. Really not what we're looking for here. We're basically using Dispatch Override. If we get a heavy attack hit, it will make us move faster for 15 seconds. And also the Incarnon evolutions for the Praetos. We're using Evolution 2, Drifting Grace, to give us increased sprint speed and slide. And also Evolution 4, Evolved Ascension, giving us 30% parkour velocity. We're moving really, really fast. And also, with Dispatch Override, we get 100% increased heavy attack windup speed with Kinetic Harmony. So that's basically the idea of it. We have no armor strip on this build. That's one of the only weaknesses of this build is no armor strip. So Shattering Impact will technically help us out there. But you know, this is more just for the mobility, to be honest. Another crucial part of the build, maybe not crucial, but a nice part of the build, is we're actually using Cascadia Flare, the Arcane from Zeramon. On heat status effect, increased damage stacking up to 480%. Protea's heat turrets will proc this and give you heat damage, give you increased damage on your secondary easily without even using your secondary. So if you want to use something that doesn't build stacks very easily, like this is, I'm using the Tenant Cyclone because I have a God Roll Ribbon. But honestly, if you were using a weapon that doesn't build stacks easily, let's say maybe the Agrit or something, the Agrit, the Pocket Brahma, you know, something that does not have an easy time building stacks. This Protea in general is going to be great for getting a bunch of stacks and weapons. Even the Zymos would be great. Zymos usually has a kind of hard time building up like Merciless stacks or whatever. You just slap on Cascadia Flare when you're playing Protea. You're going to get all the damage you need in like one heat turret. So it's really nasty in that regard. But yeah, I was using the Tenant Cyclone. I have a magnetic roll on it. It can magnetic proc stuff. It can heat proc stuff. Just good in general. But yeah, another crucial part of this build, and it's not exact companion we're using, but it's any companion in general, using the mod Synth Fiber. Health orbs can be picked up, and it basically just lets you pick up health orbs when you're full health. And the good thing about that is since our build, you know, is very energy hungry, we have 160 energy cost for our first ability, we turn health orbs into energy orbs. As you see right there, the big health orb that this thing dropped gave me 220 energy. The normal energy orb didn't really do that much. It's hilarious how much energy you get from those health orbs. So as you see right there, we're max energy in a couple seconds. Now we can just spam our abilities like crazy. Keep in mind, Protea's passive is going to give you increased energy, or rather increased power strength every 4 ability casts. So you can basically fish for it. Since we have 100% increased ability strength right now, we look at our dispensary, 59% chance to give us double drops. Very good. Strength doesn't really matter that much on the other stuff, but it can technically give you more heat turret damage too. So once you see your passive is up for 100% increased ability strength, that's when you cast Dispensary. You are going to probably want to camp it if you're using this low efficiency. But yeah, you can really nuke down some enemies with this setup. But yeah, definitely want to run that Panzer Volpophyla with the Synth mod or the Smedacat, the Synth mod. I believe that Sentinels can also run it, but yeah, Sentinels are kind of outdated if you ask me. So yeah, overall, pretty fun build. We're going with Madurai Focus Tree. You could go with whatever Focus Tree you want. It's just because the Focus Tree does not matter here. You technically could go Unairu since we are lacking armor strip. You could go Unairu to armor strip any high priority targets. But the way I'm looking at this is we're doing so much damage with these heat turrets and this Coil Horizon grouping enemies up that it would have to be a real chonker for me to have to use armor strip on them. So basically armor strip only for Demolist. So if you're using this for like disruption, maybe go Unairu. You'll armor strip the Demolist. You can technically shield strip the Demolist too with Unairu. And there you go. But for everyday gameplay, this is really good. I mean, you're not going to die because you're using your shield nades. You're using rolling guard too. So you have so much invincibility time that you'd have to basically be... No, I'll admit it. Like, it took me a little bit of getting used to with Protea. I'm very used to shield getting with Augur mods and like Brief Respite. And this playstyle, if you want to like not ruin her special shield getting from her shield nades, you need to shield get only with her nades. So it took me some getting used to for that, to be honest. I'm not really a main Protea player, but this build has made me like her a lot more. So I will be playing Protea more going forward. And the nice thing about this build too is the shards are not necessary. The main thing the shards do is make your turrets last longer, which means they have more time to stack up damage. The way I look at this is like I put on a turret, it's watching the hallway I placed it in for like a good 7 seconds, especially with that duration arcane from Zeramon, Molt Efficiency I believe it's called, giving you another extra second on those turrets. So really powerful stuff. It's fun to use the Tsar again. It's unfortunate I feel like I have to use Dispensary to actually use it properly. But yeah, you could technically just use the Tonkor if you felt like it with the new Tonkor skin. And I've got plenty of videos using the Tonkor on this channel too, so I just want to spice it up a little bit. So I think I went over everything, guys. Pretty fun build. The Archon mods are actually being utilized pretty nicely here. The footage on the screen, I'm not using Archon Stretch because I hadn't formed yet. I had to put another form on to fit on Archon Stretch because it's a pretty aggressive drain. And if you look at our build, we have basically everything that's a very high drain mod. Like there's no real slackers as far as mod drain is concerned on this build. We got like Prime mod here, double Archon mod, a 2 rank 10 corrupted mod. I guess overextended is like the lowest drain mod. We got a rank 10 silver mod here, and then we got a prime. It's a lot of drain. It's a lot. Like this is not a new player build at all, but maybe it's something to work towards. And as far as other Helminths on Protea, I did test a lot of stuff out. We tested out Fire Blast, tested out Breach Surge, and a Breach Surge. The thing about Breach Surge is like it was good. It just I didn't feel like I was really doing much. And I know that grouping up enemies with Protea is really good. A lot of people would use Larva back a couple years ago, but the range of Larva is like half of what Coil Horizon is. And I also try to pull from Mag. The problem with pull from Mag is you have to position it in a way that your heat turrets are going to shoot at the blob of enemies you grouped up. Because pull from Mag will pull them right next to you, and the turrets will not shoot at stuff behind them or stuff right underneath them. So it was a kind of annoying positioning thing. Coil Horizon, you throw the ball out, then you detonate it. Now, keep in mind, since Coil Horizon does not have the best duration, actually, its duration can't even be modded for, you need to double cast it sometimes. If an enemy is not going to instantly die in the blob, cast it again. It's no big deal to recast it again, but it has like a 2-second unmoddable duration on the vortex of it. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you found it helpful. I will see you later tonight on the live stream channel, and I will see you tomorrow for another build video. Dev stream likely on Friday. If it's not, that will be extremely odd because the update's coming out next week, so they got to tell us something soon. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace.